So let's go and see where this podcast leads. Here we go! This is the OSMcast! Hello and welcome to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dylan.
And that's us. I am sorry to report that we are in the year of our Lord 2025.
We're all sorry to be in 2025.
The dumpster fire has just been added with more gasoline.
It's a year.
Not like that good gasoline. It's like this funky gasoline. Might actually be kerosene. But also they dumped some ketamine in there for some reason. We don't know why. But there it is. But they certainly threw it into that dumpster. And
this is that old 70s gasoline that still has a lot of lead in it.
And cocaine. It's just making funky colors and not in the fun way. And it just, boy, do it stink. But hey, here at the OSMcast, we're here to give you, hopefully, just, a little bit of time that's not a dumpster fire. That's our goal for 2025.
That's a tagline right there.
A little bit of time that's not a dumpster fire. So, how are y'all?
Oh,
pretty good.
Surviving.
Well, if you want to hear more about us surviving, please check us out on our Discord, which you can find at the website OSMcast.com. We also have our Patreon, which you could, if you feel comfortable throwing money our way, you are more than welcome to throw money our way. Just, $1 gets you a cool color for your name on Discord. $5 a month will eventually release the concept of a bonus show. Also, if we ever get big enough to do ads, then it'll be ad-free on that tier. But if you want to spend some real money, you could do the $20. And after a few months of that, that'll let us afford to drag Kevin out to somewhere and they'll eat the meal of your choice.
Minus anything morally repugnant.
Yeah, I feel like
Yes.
there are limitations. There's a big asterisk there, but, within reason.
Well, I don't think there is a restaurant in Huntsville that would be serving.
I don't think there is either.
Just due to, food codes.
Right. Practically, we can't fly me out to Indonesia to do anything really wild. Yeah.
You're thinking of something specific, and I don't know what it is.
Wow, I used to have the name of this on the tip. Balatro. Like you boil a baby chick in its shell, and that's just mean. I might be mispronouncing it, but
OSMcast, for at least a little bit, not a dumpster fire.
Fine.
Now it's not a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Before, I don't know. Not with the baby chick, but now, not a dumpster fire. Speaking of things that aren't dumpster fires, let's talk about our moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
Moments of awesome are little bits of media or things that we've experienced in our life that we want to talk to you about just for a little bit. Kevin, I want you to understand, this is just for a little bit.
Just for a little bit.
For I know what your subject is, so I have to tell you just for a little bit. Kevin?
Oh, so you just want me to launch into this. Okay, here we go. There's a distinct chance I may have brought this up in other episodes, so I hope I'm not retreading ground for really dedicated listeners. It's been a while. I'm going with the I'm in love with the Villainess. I guess in this particular case, I'm talking about the anime version, which came out a little while back. I had this pulled up for a reason. Technically, it was the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. It's the anime adaptation of I don't know if it counts as very popular light novel, but certainly circles I travel in on the internet really like it. The story of a Japanese overworked office lady whose only real solace in life is this one otome game she plays constantly. And not because she likes any of the guys who are the love interests. She loves the Villainess who bullies the main character. That's her favorite character. She loves her. She's written fan fiction about this world. That's a plot point. But, as it so happens, is a real problem in Japan. She literally works herself to death and wakes up to find herself reincarnated, apparently within the world of the game, of which she has a ton of knowledge. And she just immediately sets out to, not even to date the Villainess. She doesn't even think that's possible at the start of the story. She sets out to ingratiate herself into her life, even though she's the protagonist of the game and she's meant to bully her mercilessly. Well, unfortunately for the Villainess, our protagonist is into that shit. It's just kind of their adventures as she gradually worms her way into the Villainess's heart, one weird lesbian Pepe Le Pew antic at a time, which is about as far as the anime actually gets. It's a little annoying. I have a lot of hope for a season 2 because there was a lot of write-in for people we want a season 2 of that, but nothing has materialized so far because it's one of those, when you talk about the light novels, it's come for the lesbian romance, stay for the lengthy discussions on class consciousness and only vaguely concealed Marxist theory. Plus, it really does, even in the anime series, manages to drop some anvils in a lot of frank discussions of sexuality that are queer sexuality in particular that could be said out loud more than they are, even though it is a little ham-fisted occasionally. But it's also some people just need to hear this, though. But it's a really fun show. I think the dub is also really excellent. The English dub they talk a lot like how the localization of the light novels read. And I don't know how intentional that was. Okay, if you've read the light novels, the dub sounds like how the characters talk in the light novel, which is probably a perk. But also the Japanese cast is excellent. It's funny. The animation is not the greatest in the world. It really rides a lot on the charisma of the voice actor. My wish would be to get 4 or 5 more seasons of this to get to the end of the novels and a progressive animation budget increase each time because they're going to need it as they get farther in, and it starts getting eventually it gets really off the rails and starts interrogating its own premise in interesting and bizarre ways, including making you question whether it's even an isekai story. But so I don't know. Check out the anime. If you really like it, check out the light novels or even the manga. I really haven't read the manga, but it's a good time.
All right. Dylan, what do you think is a good time?
Fabula Ultima. This is a role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game that bills itself as a TTJRPG, and it basically wants to be old school Final Fantasy, and that's great. Character creation, you've basically got a job system. You take multiple classes, and each time you take a class, you pick a skill, and so you can, kind of mix and match your abilities. It really wants you to tell stories like a JRPG. There are rules for villain cutscenes and things like that. I have run this game once. I've run the quick start once. I've played the quick start once. It seems like a hard game to GM for me. I don't know how I feel about that just because of all the cutscene stuff. But not only does it seem to do the JRPG thing really well, I feel like it pulls a lot from, the best of TTRPGs. It uses the Blades in the Dark clock system. It uses the Ryutama attribute system. Fabula points kind of work like drama dice and a million other mechanics like that. And man, I almost forgot what I was going to say.
What was, as a player, when you played it, what was your favorite aspect of it while playing?
I really, really like the class system because, like I said, you're literally building a job. You're building Final Fantasy jobs. You take a little bit of melee fighter, you take a little bit of various types of spellcasters, and it liberally uses things like damage types the way a lot of JRPGs do. Oh, no, I remember what I was going to say. The core book and some of the the High Fantasy Atlas, it does a really good job of, like, it has a lot of really good suggestions for running certain types of games, how you do it, what the characters should look like, what the world should look like. It's, you may not like something that opinionated, but I think it will give you some ideas if you're really into, tabletop role-playing games and storytelling and that sort of thing.
Well, considering that a lot of these things, especially the books themselves, they're just rule sets. They're the tools that you can put in your box of tools to play around in your playgrounds.
Yeah.
So giving suggestions on how to make use of the tools, I don't think is a bad thing, because you just need to know how you want to do stuff. So
it's not just the tools. It's kind of like, okay, if you're telling a high fantasy story as opposed to techno fantasy or natural fantasy, like, the characters should have certain attributes. They don't need to be these complicated 3-dimensional characters necessarily. They have a single theme and things like that. Again, like, good stimulating ideas.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, speaking of stimulating ideas, maybe I've been playing a lot of Balatro, which is a 2024 video game developed by Local Thunk, published by PlayStack, and it is it's on pretty much everything at this point. I'm playing it on my phone, on my Android device, and it is ostensibly poker, but not really. I think they bill it as a roguelike deck building game, which is not wrong, because the goal is to play what I assume are poker hands. I'm pretty sure these are poker hands that I'm talking about. But the secret sauce is that you also can modify everything as you're playing, which also brings like the more roguish elements, because that's all randomized on what you get. So the big example would be you get different jokers, and all the jokers will have different modifiers to what you're doing. Say you might get point multipliers if you play cards that do score but are clubs. Or maybe you have so many jokers. Now, and for every joker, it adds a multiplier to your modifier, to your score. And so the goal is also, in addition to jokers, the different kinds of poker hands you can play, whether it's a full house or a pair or 2 pairs or what have you, those can also be individually leveled up during the building sessions. And as you level them up, you'll get a base score and multiplier. Those also get raised. There are also tarot cards, which you can then use to modify the playing cards themselves. You can buy more cards. There are different effects you can add to them. They're referred to as holographic, which adds extra chips or multipliers to your chips to raise your score. And every time you play, you're trying to beat a score total of a thing where you need to earn 1,000 points or 20,000 points or what have you. And then there's boss battles, which will be like, oh, hey, all those clubs you're using? Well, now clubs don't count. Any card that's a club will not get scored. You can play them all you want, but they'll do you no good, which is fine, because sometimes, say, I've really leveled up my 2 pairs a bunch, because there is a joker that's just a pair of pants. And the pants, because it's 2 legs, right, it increases its value every time you play 2 pair. So when you have pants, you want to play lots of 2 pairs. Say I can do 2 pairs, but one of the cards in a pair is a club, and it's not going to count. Well, I still want to play the 2 pairs because the 2 pairs itself counts. The bonuses for whatever level of 2 pair counts, and that card that's going to be modifying my score at the end also counts. But what I've also discovered is this tends to be because, well, again, it's a rogue-like game. A lot of it is, well, I start a game. All right. Boy, all these jokers suck. They're not doing me any good. Oh, game over. All right, let me try it again. Oh, these jokers suck. Game over. Oh, I'm not getting any jokers. I'm just getting other modifiers. That's not really doing me any good. Let me try again. Oh, hey, this is broken. I'm going to landslide win this. And I do. Okay, that deck's done. Let me try this deck. Oh, this deck gives me a bonus to money. But if I do it, I won't earn interest. So if I have lots of money, it won't do me much good. Okay, let me try this deck. Boom. Well, those jokers suck. Oh, well. Like that's it's a game where you lose and then you win. And a lot of it is luck.
Yeah.
There is amount of skill where to put your stuff together. And it does feel good to be like, okay, I got these jokers and these are working together real well. You guys are hosed. Oh, all you cards and all your point things. I'm just going to crush everything. Ha ha. Oh, I still lost. All right. That's fine. But the next time, I totally win. There have been a couple of times where I just happen to get different jokers that really, their effects really commingle together. And I'm just blowing the point totals every time. I could play one card, a high card poker hand, and I still win just because all the modifiers I have from jokers. And that's cool. But then the game's over. And now you got to do it all over again. And so it's fun, but I'm just I feel a lot of people are talking like about Balatro like it is the second coming of Jesus Christ in video game form.
Right.
And I'm still not quite sure it's even John the Baptist.
So it sounds like it changes up both your goal and what decks you get. And in theory, that should like push you to take different strategies every time instead of just settling in the same one. But it sounds like it doesn't do that. A lot of times it's easy to just like, screw it, I'll throw this hand and then play the next one.
I've done that a few times.
Okay.
And by and large, what I have discovered, I remember hearing this suggestion on another podcast and I took it to heart and it's worked well for me. And that suggestion was pick a poker hand you like and always play that hand if you can get away with it. Because you also want to level up that hand because that gives you the better base stats if you successfully do it. So mine has been 2-pair. 2-pair has been very good to me. Sometimes full house, but by and large, 2-pair has been very good to me. And so now I just focus on getting 2-pair every time. And the trick is just finding the right jokers that pair well together to let you do that. Like, I can give you some other tips. Like, for example, one of the early jokers you want is you want a joker to earn you money. Because between every round of the actual card game, you have a building phase where you can buy jokers and other modifier cards to build up your deck. And if you don't have any cash, you can't do that. So you definitely want a joker that allows you to also earn money in addition to scoring points. And getting that early on can be very useful. For example, there's a rocket joker where it earns you money every round you win, and it upgrades every time you beat a boss. So by the time I'm getting to near the end of the game, every time I win, I'm just getting $10, $15 every turn, and I'm just flush with cash all the time. So I'm now just buying modifiers like left and right, just spending all this money.
It feels like the way with a lot of roguelike games where you hit a point where it's all about the upgrades as opposed to like pushing through the skill.
Yeah, it is. And it's also much like a lot of roguelike. It's very much boom or bust.
Well, I'll say, I hear people talk about Balatro. It sure sounds really, really fun. But then I remember, I hate poker.
Yes, it is using poker hands as the means to an end. But also, a lot of the things about poker is reading your opponent. You're making bets. You're trying to compete against other people. You're not doing that in Balatro. There is no other person. There is a point total that you have to meet or you lose.
I see.
And it's how do you beat that point total? This is, in some ways, you could also refer to this as solitaire with extra steps. Like, again, yes, is it using poker hands? Yeah, sure, it is. But that's as far as it goes. Everything else, and it's got again, it uses chips, and it's certainly graphically, it's making use of a gambling table as a motif to build its art around. It didn't have to. Not really. But that's just that's what you got when you have cards. So, it was like $10 on Android. It's not terribly expensive. And I've gotten $10 of fun out of it. And I'm still enjoying it. Like I said, it may not be John the Baptist, but it's probably like one of the other apostles. It's still good. It may not be ones that like wrote books or anything in the Bible, but they're good. Maybe there's an apostle named Joey. This game is totally a Joey.
Well,
I'm trying to remember as many names as I can, and I'm coming up short.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know there wasn't a Joey.
See, this is even worse because as an avid player of like the Xenoverse games, like I know in Xenosaga, there's literally they literally rattle off the names of all the apostles at one point because they're the names of little magic cubes, and it's like I'm blanking though.
Yeah, Balatro's fun, but as you're right, Dylan, it is a game all about them upgrades and moving forward and racing towards a goal. So we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our anime subject of this episode, all about racing and sometimes even about upgrades. Appare-Ranman. We'll be right back. We're back. Welcome back to the OSMcast, folks. And we do have to put a little disclaimer on this episode, or an apology, or I don't know. So we signed up in 2023 for the Anime Secret Santa, or as everyone else likes to call it, ASS. And okay, Dylan, maybe you don't want to call it ASS, but a lot of people call it ASS.
I just laughed that you sighed as if you were being forced to say it.
Oh,
fine,
no,
guys.
No. I know. I'm all about that ass. Ask my wife. Anyways, so we signed up for it, and it's a great program. It was started by the Reverse Thieves, Alan and Kate, and they did it for many years. And then Vinny from AGC Podcast took over, and he ran it for several years. And now Corey of the Taiku Podcast is now running it. And the idea is that everyone gets together and they go, yes, here's my list of anime that I've seen. Here's what I'm willing to watch. And here's what I'm not willing to watch. And so that gets jumbled up and randomly sent to other people. And then you pick out a TV show or movie to watch. And then you do a blog post or a podcast or whatever medium that you talk about things, and you get it out before Christmas. Well, this episode is certainly coming out before Christmas in 2025. Now,
to be fair, I feel like the OSMcast has had several dumpster fire years. Not several, a few dumpster fire years. So, we can blame that, right?
Sure. I mean, look, there's a reason why I did not apply for the 2024, because we hadn't finished our 2023.
We would all feel immense amounts of shame. I mean, more than the immense amount of shame I usually feel.
Right. So this is our make good, that we are going to talk about some of the shows that were given to us in 2023. Yes. Is it in 2025? Sure. Yeah. But hey, we're still talking about it. We agreed to do this and we're going to do it.
And this was also a really good suggestion. So, hey, I'm glad I watched this.
Oh yeah, it's a good show. Like, spoilers, Appare-Ranman's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that this gave me an excuse to watch it, because I totally forgot that it existed, because for the longest time it was locked to Funimation's website, and its app, and then Funimation got ate by Sony, and then Crunchyroll got ate by Sony, and then suddenly it became all Crunchyroll, and everyone has kind of forgotten that Funimation exists, including Crunchyroll, and I really feel Appare-Ranman kind of got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Thanks to Austin from Third Impact Anime, because he was our secret Santa. I know that now. Didn't know that then, but I know that now. And, well, it's 2025. Who cares? I know it. He knows it. And thanks, Austin. This was a good pick. So, Appare-Ranman. It is an anime that is ostensibly about racing.
Kind of about racing. Cars are raced.
Maybe the real racing was the friends we made along the way.
I mean, you make some friends. It's a show all about friends.
Well, I have a thought that I should maybe save to the spoiler section. But yeah, they certainly are it's a colorful cast of very likable characters for the most part. So you may find yourself wanting to even root for somebody who's not our protagonist sometimes.
Oh yeah. It was directed and written by Masakazu Hashimoto. And as far as I know, except for them doing some episodes of like Crayon Shin-chan, did a lot of directing on some of the movies for Crayon Shin-chan. This is, I think, the first like TV show that they got to be in charge.
Tari. Wait, I'm not even sure if that came after. That might have come after this, but no, it didn't. I don't know anything about Tari, but that's the other one that I think they were the main person behind.
It was also animated by PA Works, or Progressive Anime Works, as I believe is what they show whenever you see the logo show up during the opening. Or Progressive Animation Works, sorry.
Oh yeah, and I would be remiss in saying that he was also apparently largely behind Soul Eater Not, at least the animated version, which I tried really hard to like, and I just couldn't. No matter how gay the opening animation is, I couldn't get into it. I tried. So I'm glad they made Appare-Ranman, because it's much better.
And PA Works, by and large, if I see PA Works worked on something, I know it's at least pretty good, if not very good. Like, they don't make bad stuff by and large.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite things are stuff that they worked on, like The Eccentric Family and Shirobako. Or Your Boy Kongming, which we had an episode about it, a couple years ago.
I was making that list and I actually really like a couple of these.
Right. But they're not all 5-star shows, but you've got a pretty good. You could go in feeling pretty confident that it's well made, competently produced. It'll look really good.
Well, even for example, two shows that I did watch and I did enjoy in 2023 were Buddy Daddies and Skippin' Loafer.
Yeah, I really liked Akiba Maid War also. That was somewhere around the same vicinity.
Yeah, so they put out good stuff. It may not all be the greatest thing ever, but usually if you see it, you can go, yeah, all right, I'll give that a shot. I'll give that a looky look. And Appare-Ranman is definitely one that you should watch. Now, I can't say for sure that this was taking direct inspiration from Wacky Races. The Hanna-Barbera 1968 and onwards show.
I'm pretty sure Japan got it though. I think they liked it.
Oh, looking at, I'm positive Wacky Races 1 was in Japan and had to get Japan at least a little bit for the fact that I think they got a DVD release of the show before we did.
Yeah.
I do wonder, honestly though, if this show was actually more directly inspired by what inspired Wacky Races to begin with. For example, the movie The Great Race, which is a 1965 Warner Brothers movie about a trans-American race that was a comedy full of goofy characters where they race and they have some downtime and they have some more racing.
That sure sounds like the show I watched.
Yeah.
Right. And it even stars one of the characters is portrayed by Peter Falk.
Oh, hey.
So it's got Columbo in it, who I don't think he's playing Columbo, but he's in it. And I kind of wanted to watch it before I did this episode, only there's no place that's actually streaming it unless you spend money on it.
Huh.
So I was thinking, this is a Warner Brothers classic. It won an Academy Award. Surely this would be on HBO Max. No. No, of course.
Why would you assume that now?
Why would I? That was crazy of me. I can't believe I even thought about that.
It does seem like it's inspired by, there's a whole genre of these movies. Like the one I think of is like Cannonball Run, I think is one of them. Like I am not familiar with that genre. So I feel like I possibly lost something. Like there are things I probably didn't pick up from this anime. I do remember at MomoCon a couple of years ago, Inc. gave a panel about like pairing up animes with road trip movies. And I can't remember what he paired this one up, but that was the first place I'd heard of this.
I will say I did watch the trailer for The Great Race, and I was watching like, oh yeah, this totally could have been, even it feels like, again, it's set at the turn of the 20th century. It's got very similar, technology level of cars. The cities that you see them racing around in sure looks like the cities that they're racing around in Appare-Ranman. I really do wonder if The Great Race was in fact the actual inspiration for this TV show and not wacky races.
Yeah, we've got it's kind of dawn of the automobile kind of stuff. And it's also got a whole lot of Old West in it. It's got, a lot of characters who would feel very at home in a Western film, except, actually, I'm going to go so far as to say, including the samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is kind of fun to watch this show, which is about two guys, Appare Serrano and Kazumi Ishiki. Appare is a very eccentric inventor who is, they're not telling you he is on the autism spectrum, but
I think they are. Not out loud, but within the content of the show. I really telling you that.
I really wondered about it, if that was intentional, because I'll be honest, in the first couple of episodes, he kind of rubs me the wrong way. He's it kind of comes off as a jerk in some ways. And that is because I'm 100% a Kosume, right? And I'm just like, no, what are you doing? Why are you doing this stuff? But there's character development that happens through the series that made me feel a lot better about that.
The weird thing is, it's a 13-episode show, and I had watched it when it ran, including the little skip before we really got all of it. But I could have sworn it was 26 episodes. I remembered it being longer. I feel like there's a lot of character crammed into those 13 episodes.
Yeah.
There very much is. Like, this is a show that I would have believed you if you told me it's 26 episodes. It feels like it's a 26 episode show, but it is done in half the time. They escaflowed this show correctly. I'll put it that way. So you got Appare, who is this genius inventor who only cares about inventing and kind of ignores everything else and is kind of a jerk for it, but he gets better. And then you have Kasama Ishiki, who is a samurai. He's head of his family dojo. He is the guy who actually does the real life work, so that way Appare can, exist.
To be fair, given the time period, he's probably not actually a samurai, because they probably don't actually exist anymore, but I'm pretty certain his family has to be a samurai family. And he is a swordsman. He has like Basil said, he has a dojo. He practices a school of swordsmanship that I'm pretty sure is a family school. I can't remember if they actually said that out loud now, but I bet it is. It's
he does. Yeah, it seems like that is his purpose. Like he's kind of under his parents' control, more or less.
If this is the Meiji era, that's the samurai probably don't exist anymore.
Yeah, like he's basically commanded to go hey, deal with Appare. He destroyed some of our property with one of his inventions. And a little bit later in like I think the first episode, you find out he trained Appare at his dojo. So that kind of seems like what he does.
Yeah.
In the area. And Appare just kind of like screwed off and like
I think it's kind of
didn't fight fair, which was
it's kind of easy to lose track of that they knew each other prior to the events of episode 1.
Also, Kevin, this show, it's set during a time, but it does not really give one crap about being correct about its time period.
Not super much. Like, I'll fight about historical accuracy in some things, even to the point of being annoying. This is not a show where that bugged me. Like, dude turns a boat into a hybrid gas steam racing car. I mean, I'm like, okay, yeah. That's just he built a Segway. It's just that kind of show.
Yeah, the mechanical stuff is just wildly exaggerated.
The point is that Kosume, he is salt of the earth, Japanese good boy.
He is as Japanese as you can be.
You gotta pay your dues.
Yeah. In both good and bad ways, he is as very Japanese as you can be.
And so hijinks occur, and they find themselves in America.
They were pretty big hijinks.
They were pretty big hijinks.
They end up in America.
And they need money to get back to Japan. And it just so happens that there is a race from New York to LA. And if you win, you'll have enough money to get back to Japan or do anything else you want in life.
Wait, was it the other way around? I think LA to New York? I don't know.
It was LA to New York because they end up in LA.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, they end up with LA because that's closer to Japan than New York would be.
And it just so happens that Appare's new weird fixation is automobiles.
Yep.
Which all ties nicely together. He's like, I can build a car.
Well, I can take my boat and I'll just make it into a car. I mean, I just got to find a place to store it.
That works, right?
Kosume, find me a place to store it. It's
like the technology just vaguely floats at the edge of that's maybe possible.
I'll tell you, the idea of just building something that turns into a boat and crosses the ocean, it feels like this feels like some sort of thing I would have thought of when I was 5, right? And then you get a few years older and you're like, that's not how things work.
Yeah. Although he also is, I should mention, he's like reading an H.G. Wells novel in the first episode.
Jules Verne, I think.
Jules Verne.
It's from the Earth to the Moon.
Earth to the Moon. Yes, Jules Verne. You're right.
And it very much like places him and like, defines him. You're like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing with this character now.
I get his design aesthetic now. And of course, nobody thinks they have a chance. They get fairly seriously mocked at the beginning until it looks, oh wait, that car they built actually works,
And you also get introduced with a whole bunch of colorful cast of characters who are also racing, as well as the people in charge of the race and the villains that are there to get you to be villains. And it is generally, even if it was not based on the Great Race, is clearly based off of the 1908 New York to Paris race, or the Peking to Paris race that happened the year before that, which again was a race to show off the state of automobile technology and road infrastructure.
Like, there is a plot that, like, the railroad companies don't especially want to see this race succeed because they're worrying it will, make people think railroads are obsolete.
Well, and the people who pony up the money for this is 3 different auto manufacturers because they want to sell the world, especially the United States, on the concept of cars.
Who are thinly veiled real-world early automotive producers.
Thinly. In air quotes.
It's like GM, but it's like a different motors. It's like BMW versus BMW. It's very, they're very much, but they want to pony up this cash to show off to the world how cool automobiles are. And that's why it's this big, big, long race. And they've hired just the craziest characters that they could imagine.
And, it's interesting that, it's sort of implied that there's a lot of people in the race, but we really just seem to tend to see about like the same 10-ish people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do show the other racers. It's just they show them after they get screwed over.
Yeah. And it really does kind of boil down to just like a distinct set of racers. Eventually, a lot of people drop out, for various reasons.
Yeah, there's also a sense where this race goes off the rails in a way that the organizers don't expect it to. And it's a combination of, I want to say the plot is the organizers pull in some of these outlaws from this 1003 gang, and that raises the stakes, having them as drivers for Big Boss. Which I thought was kind of interesting, because you could very easily make, these car company drivers the bad guys or the outlaws the bad guys or something. And yet, there's a lot of like assistance happening between these characters. Right. And
it's like they thought it would get, big publicity if they had these big name baddies, in their race, it's like these infamous figures.
But they're really not all that bad. But that is a discussion for spoiler time.
I also love the fact that the auto companies are referred to as the big boss companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BMW, GM, and Iron, I think. Yeah.
Iron something.
I think it's just Iron Motor Company in the notes.
But I liked all the characters. I like Dylan Geoden. I love the name Richard Reisman, because clearly it's supposed to be Richard Niceman.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
And maybe he's not so nice. But then you have Crazy TJ.
Crazy TJ.
His character look is a choice.
On my rewatch, I watched this dubbed. The dub is for just a couple minutes at the very beginning, I was like, oh, this might have been a mistake. But it almost immediately turns around. And it's a really good dub cast overall. It took a little bit of liberty with some of the dialogue in ways that certain segments of the internet would not appreciate. But at the same time, I'm like, I think they still kept the vibe. And it turns into a very naturally sounding vernacular for the period, too. A few people try for accents. Not all of them, but a few people try for accents. And, Crazy TJ sounds like Crazy TJ. Like, I don't know. He sounds like he should be a guy named Crazy TJ. And him and, Dylan being both sort of friends and rivals and, I don't know, frenemies. They play well off of each other in the dub.
I also really like the name for the main bad guy, who is Gil T. Cigar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Guilty Cigar. Like it's just that's a great name. Great name. Naming in this show. A+. Just no notes, all good.
But it's a colorful cast of weirdos who you get to know in various ways, and it's like you kind of like them. There's also a French guy and his minder who might be his maid. I don't know. Their relationship is a little vague.
Her family worked for his family, and then like there's like a connection there.
Yeah.
She's technically just his chaperone or maid, but also like
his employee, but they're also like childhood friends, and and a lot of the time she comes off as his minder.
Yeah.
And the Chinese American girl who wants to race, but girls can't race, so she has to prove them wrong. Feels like an easy character to leave out of recounting the narrative, but she's kind of deeply involved in it anyways.
Yeah. I feel like they try to that may be spoiler territory.
They include her whenever they can.
Yes.
She, besides that, she wants to show that girls can race just fine. She doesn't have a other major subplot in the story. So she gets involved in other people's subplots.
Yes.
This is a show, again, it's only 12, 13 episodes. It's got a short runtime as TV shows go. It's just one season, one core of an anime. and it's got to tell its whole story through it. And this is also a story where they like their downtime. It's not just all racing all the time. They want you to spend some time with these characters also living their life and also having hijinks alongside the action, alongside the racing. Also, animating vehicles racing is hard. So I think they take lots of opportunities to do things that's not racing so they don't have to animate racing all the time.
There's like set spots along the route of the race where, they're supposed to stop to like refuel and resupply. And it's kind of like, okay, well, you stopped and you got to like, basically, you have to take a break. It's enforced. It's whoever got there first gets a bonus to when they can start to keep things even. But, it's like you have to take some downtime. So everyone does have a chance to like talk to each other, mess with each other's stuff, or get involved in each other's hijinks.
One thing I noticed is when I rewatched this, I put this in my notes. I don't think they actually get on the road until episode 6. So episodes 1 through 5, they're kind of screwing around, and then like 6, 7, those episodes get really action dense. But what they spend the first 5 episodes doing is creating those connections, right? Like Al and Appare meet, and there's sort of this mutual respect there. And Team Appare meets Janlin, I think is how you pronounce Janlin. And so there's all these kind of connections being set up that then play out when they get on the road.
And it's the rest of the cast, and then like with like Dylan and TJ do pop in there, but they have such strong personalities that it's like, yeah, okay, they just dominate the scene most of the time when they show up, anyways. So it's.
And they really love doing gun kata stuff, which makes extra sense because the actual accuracy you have with firearms in this time period is absolutely crap. And so you'd want to get in real close to do it anyways. So why not have these crazy shootouts where it almost looks like you're trying to punch each other, but you're shooting guns at each other instead?
I mean, like late in the show, there's a guy who's like, oh no, he's got a serious scary advantage because he's using buckshot.
It almost gets, like, I shouldn't say almost, it gets real ludicrous towards the end, the amount of like dodging and gun kata stuff that they do. It's like, it's such a weird turn.
This is an anime-ass anime.
It sure is. It is over the top.
This is a Japanese cartoon. I cannot emphasize the word cartoon enough.
Yes.
This is a real good time. It's a real heartfelt time. It does have serious moments, but this is...
I still remember my first reaction to seeing TJ walking in with his wild outfit, his crazy hair, that weird, it's like a boom box, but it's like a boom box with like I can't remember what those old kind of record players are called. It just went right on my head. I had the word.
Phonograph?
Yeah, it's like a phonograph built into a boom box. And just with the whole, like, my reaction to TJ is, I don't know if this design is just the coolest thing I've ever seen or incredibly racist. Or both.
This anime can be a lot of anime, but it's a real good time.
Oh yeah, also there's a little Native American boy who I'm not sure. Also, once again, I'm not sure if they're awesome or incredibly racist in their design.
Well, again, this is a cartoon, and it is a Japanese cartoon.
Yeah.
Set of a lot of American characters from turn of the century.
Although I do have to say the two characters who kind of raised my question mark of, is this, well, actually I could argue 3 with Zhao Lin. Are the characters who really raise my, is this racist question mark, are some of actually the coolest characters and are treated very sympathetically in the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume it's not on purpose if it is.
This is very much, I feel, in the G Gundam.
Yes.
Like, school of, is this incredibly racist? Yeah, could be. Probably is. But you're having so much fun that everyone's kind of ignoring that fact anyways.
Like, it's less, you see all these stereotypes of this person who is different than you. It's more like, you see all these things about this person who's different to you? Isn't it awesome?
But okay, we've been talking for a minute. So I think we've done a pretty good job of going like, yep, this sure is an anime. You should watch it.
It is.
So let's dig into it
should.
with some spoilers. We'll be right back with more talking about Appare-Ranman here on the OSMcast. And we're back. So again, just warning y'all, we spoiling stuff. Did you know that Richard Reisman was actually Guilty Cigar? He's actually, the nice man is actually the bad guy.
See, this also goes into something wanted to say. What I said I wanted to say for this is, and you mentioned G Gundam, is it does remind me of that. Okay, you got this competition, you got all these people from all these places, and you spend some time getting to know them, so you kind of like them. So maybe you feel conflicted about our protagonists actually beating them, but then they all have to team up against one clear bad guy.
Yes. I also like how they did that reveal, because the person that you think is Gil the Butcher are actually the Bad Brothers, and they're basically like these Robin Hood types that are super nice and get integrated into this little family that we've created out of all the racers.
Like one of the two brothers is this big hulking guy who is actually, sweetest guy on earth. They had him dressed up in a big imposing costume with a mask. It's like, oh,
yes.
It was just a big ruse. It's like, oh, we got Guilty Cigar in our race. That was the coolest race ever. But he's just he's a guy. He's a big strong guy, but he's just a guy. So it's like, oh, okay. But of course, you do keep seeing things that suggest that at least members of Gil's gang are, interfering with the race in different ways, or our heroes are just coming across them in their downtime somehow. And so it's like, oh, maybe he is really involved. And then it's like, oh, nope, he was there the whole time.
Well, with the Bad Brothers, they were acting like they were Gil's gang, but they were also not their hearts weren't exactly in it. They were very much acting like the Dirk Dastardly.
Yeah.
Where they were coming up with like goofy scenarios to hinder people racing, but they weren't outright hurting anyone actually.
They were the designated heels if this was pro wrestling. They were there to, get people to boo at them. It's
And again, it really feels like they could have just like, hey, we've got some bandits and they're the bad guys, but they chose to do something a little more complicated, which again is interesting for a 13 episode series that feels like it's packing in much more.
And for example, they technically did kidnap Hototo because he was trying to get in with their business, and they didn't kill him. They just dumped him in a box on the side of the road.
Yeah. There's a stark contrast to when Gil actually shows up and reveals himself and starts actually moving, because he's a monster.
Yes.
He doesn't care if he kills you.
Also sets up one of the biggest twists of the whole series. Or not twists, really, but just like I don't know, like turns. Just something I didn't expect when they shoot Kosame.
Yeah.
And he actually is shot.
Yeah, no, Gil's actually from a different anime where they don't care about killing, and they kill.
Yeah.
I kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, once Gil reveals himself, I feel like it turns into secretly the good Wild Arms anime.
I could see that. Yeah, because he's definitely
like, he is an anime villain almost from a different anime that somehow still has a Wild West theme.
I don't know about. I did watch this subbed and not dubbed, but Kenjiro Tsuda, he is such a good villain. He is such a good villain. Like, he is, for example, he is also, tend to be, if you want like a guy doing a gravelly Yakuza voice, that is who you get in anime. And so, but he can also sound, all nice and stuff. And then he's like, but I'm actually evil. And you believe it. Like, he chews all the scenery, like on a Tim Curry level. Like he is like, as voice actors go, like he knows how, when he talks, you're like, oh, you're evil. Oh, you're real evil. You did kill all these people. You could have just did it with your voice and I'd believe you. Like he's such a good villain.
Oh yeah. It's like he does not play around, and his real gang are like also just like cult killers. It's like when he decides like to stop playing around and actually make his own moves. Things get
And
rough for our heroes, you know.
oh yeah. And there's lots of moments that these things have. Like Dylan's right. This is also a very dense anime where there is a bit where our wonderful, not a samurai gets shot.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah. And this is a guy who, in a previous episode has literally cut bullets out of the air.
Yes.
Yeah.
And will cut bullets out of the air again when the show is over.
It's such a weird turn because, they get out on the road, they're doing cool stuff, and then like it suddenly stops, and at the end of that episode, you're sure he's dead, and he spends like at least an episode or two in the hospital.
The concept of blood transfusions is what saves him because that's technology that they've not seen before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also part of the reason he kind of has more respect for Appare and technology and all of this stuff. And also that prompts Appare to like, oh, I actually do care about these people. I need to slow down. And
well, he also, when Cosme gets shot, Appare has discovered how, and Gil is so overpowered that Appare suddenly loses all confidence, all ability to, he thinks everything's useless. Like all his technology, it's pointless. This guy is just too OP. He's too powerful. Technology can never compete with someone this dangerous, this powerful. Why am I even bothering? But it's the act of this blood transfusion that let Cosme goes, no, this was technology. This is science progressing, and it saved my life. Your science will save lives. Your science is important. You better sure as hell not stop doing your science stuff.
Yeah, like it pulls not just them, but like all the characters kind of together and focuses them on. And also at this point, Sophia, Owl's maid, chaperone, whatever, friend.
Weird thing is, they're probably like not love interests at the very least.
Yeah, this show kind of teases stuff like that. They do that with Kosame and Jalin. I do not remember how to pronounce her name. Jing. Like it also does that with them, but it's like, nah, not really, kinda. But yeah, Sophia ends up on a train being driven to certain destruction. Like there's also that time limit there. Once Kosame kind of heals up and they all head out to stop Gil.
Yeah, which has really good action set pieces. Everyone gets to have their own little fight in an episode. They eventually do have the big fight against Guilty Cigar. And then they discover, oh no, Claudia is on the train. And it's not Claudia.
Sophia
is actually
on a train packed with dynamite heading right for Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he's going to like just blow up in the middle of Chicago or wherever the train station is.
So they have to go outrace the train to overtake the train so they can then stop the train. And Appare uses his new cool, both gasoline and coal steam powered dual hybrid engine to have his car outpower this train so it doesn't wreck everything. And then they can actually finish the race.
Yeah.
Yes. There's almost a moment like, well, we've never had someone try to kill all the other racers before. What do we do?
Yeah.
There's a lot of where I guess we're just going to have to stop the race in the last few episodes. And it's like the racers just refuse to stop the race.
Right. I think it's also at this point. No, it's when Gil destroys all the cars that like Seth Rich Carter, the big boss guy who's the tournament organizer, race organizer. It's set up that he used to be an engineer, and then they have him basically like I think Al and Appare kind of pull him back in, like, hey, help us get these cars working again. And there's almost a redemption moment for him too, because he starts out as this sort of like calculating cynic, like, hey, we're gonna, pretend to
making
have
money,
like we're gonna have the bandits in here, and that's gonna draw a bunch of attention.
Calling, I know it's like at one point he calls the cops. It's like, wait, you didn't want us to mess with the bandits. Now you want us to mess with the bandits? Yeah, like we're not getting killed by guilty cigar.
Yeah.
We got better things to do.
He loses control of it, right?
But it's fine. Our racers have no problems going off to fight Guilty Cigar. No problem whatsoever. And they do.
Weird how, like, literally all of our racers are strangely formidable in fights, but that's a whole other.
Even the ones you wouldn't think would be.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's a good time. Like this is a really fun show, and when the races are racing, it's really good racing action. When it's the more hand-to-hand or weapons-based combat, once again, it's really good action. The character beats are solid. The hijinks are fun and goofy, and it's got some of the best goofiness in a hot springs in an anime I've seen in a minute. Now this show, it's not going to win awards for being like highbrow or doing anything particularly new, but everything that it does extremely well.
Yeah. I think the pacing is gonna feel weird. I remember it was the first time I watched it. But if you can kind of get past some of that, like it gets better than you expect an anime like this to be. You kind of think it's just going to be, wacky races or, the great, road. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for. Yeah, like the road race thing.
Yeah. I also do wonder how much of that is also, unfortunately, at the time, this originally aired in 2020 in the midst of COVID. It also had a delay because, well, the animation staff had COVID and they were all sick and they could not animate. So that also could have been a factor. Who knows?
I wonder if that's more of a factor in why it didn't seem to catch on as, I don't think I'd heard of it before Ink's panel, honestly.
Yeah, it occurred. It was airing right as that was hitting.
Yeah, I get the impression it didn't do that great in Japan. And I'm not, that could be because of that, or it could just be that, it's a hard sell to a Japanese audience.
It's a genre that seems like is more a thing America does. It's set in America, so like maybe we have a little more, I don't want to say context for it, but yeah, like we're seeing all these genres that aren't as big over there.
That could certainly be the case. Again, on the United States front, it was on Funimation, not on Crunchyroll. Yeah. That can be a factor for a lot of folks watching anime, especially at the time. It was not, we had other things going on.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, though, is that it was on Funimation, and eventually it showed up on Crunchyroll, but that was after the merger occurred and people stopped paying attention. And the show was out of the zeitgeist, as it were, because it wasn't actively airing. And that's an issue with modern day fandom, is that it's all about what's going on this season. Oh, season's over, forget it. Now we got the new season. But don't sleep on this show. It's really good. It's really fun. It's very, very enjoyable. The world is better for having this show in it.
Yeah.
But this is also where we're going to take another break, because we've got questions from listeners like you. We'll be right back. And we're back. But not only are we back, here at the OSMcast, we're here with questions from listeners like you. We put out the call for questions, and you had them. So now we're going to answer them. Our first set of questions come from Jake from Discord. Hey, just heard you on the AWO holiday special, which is why I was on. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoyed Appare. Feels like Funimation didn't promote it as heavily as they should have. For your podcast, I had a few questions. Is Appare a steel ball run clone with cars?
I feel like eyes turned to me.
I
My
have
eyes
not
just
kept up
turned to someone else because I don't even know what that is.
because that sounds like JoJo's. That's JoJo's,
It
right?
is. It is, in fact, if they animated them in order, Steel Ball Run would be next.
We got this question twice.
Yeah.
So
It is kind of a Wild West horse race story. I'm not as familiar with it as I would like, partially because it hasn't been animated yet, and I haven't actually read the JoJo's in manga form past Stone Ocean. But I certainly feel like there's some similarities, at least on the surface. But I don't know. Although I think it falls into this is sort of a genre. This big, great cross-American race is sort of a genre of story, even if it's one that doesn't get visited much anymore. It is like an established sort of story type, and there are some commonalities I think you're going to find in those kind of stories. I mean, there's more magic nonsense in JoJo's, but that's and literal actual body of Christ. But that's
I'm so confused when people talk about JoJo's. What? Magic and literal actual.
It's
okay.
confusing. It is confusing, especially from the outside. If you just were to start from the beginning and watch it, it would probably make a lot of sense comparatively.
Dylan, they're already wearing the Bizarre Adventurers on their shirt to answer all the questions that can be answered by the fact that they have Bizarre Adventures.
Yes. We're getting asked a lot about Bizarre Adventures, considering that's right in the title of our show.
I do think your point, though, of like it is a genre. The road rally thing, road race thing, is a genre. And like I said, I do feel like I've probably missed out on elements of Appare-Ranman because I don't know that genre.
But it's such a good implementation of the genre that I think you're still having a good time.
Yes.
So it's fine.
I certainly think some of the characters, especially like Crazy TJ, and maybe if Guilty Cigar had just a little bit more flamboyant of a costume, would fit very nicely in the JoJo's verse. Also, weirdly, Tristan, before he ditches his Guilty Cigar disguise, would fit also pretty well in JoJo's, I think. They just all need some kind of weird power that on the surface seems absolutely useless, but somehow turns out to be the most dangerous thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. The next question was, or wacky races? This is much more probably in the wacky races oeuvre.
Yeah.
But it's still doing its own thing because wacky races was pretty much just all wacky races and the hijinks on the race, whereas this show does a lot more stuff around the races in addition to the races.
Like it kind of, like as I said, like right about episode 10, it kind of turns into Secret Best Wild Arms anime.
Let's see. How would you compare Appare to Senku from Dr. Stone? Well, Senku is a shonen power hero who just also happens to use science.
Yeah. Senku is pre-time skip Rick Sanchez.
Whereas I feel Appare's, I would actually refer, he's more BBC Sherlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is actually how it would be more of a comparison point.
Oh man, I don't know why this is not even super relevant to questions, but there's totally a Thomas Edison cameo in the show. And
yes, there is.
Maybe it was supposed to be inspirational, like, oh, it's Thomas Edison, but all I got out of it is Thomas Edison even stole his most famous catchphrase from our hero. What a hack!
The Sherlock thing does make a lot of sense. I'm getting diverted from the actual question here.
Yeah.
It does make a lot. It kind of explains what bothered me in the first couple episodes because he could do things. He could just like pick a lock and walk out of jail for causing a bunch of damage. And who cares? He's like cool.
Absolutely brilliant. He has, at least certainly compared to any of his peers, a much more extensive knowledge of technology and natural principles of the universe on hand to help him figure his way out of things. He's also super focused on himself
Yes.
and is in his own little world 90% of the time. Like
It
there's a lot going on in his head, but you have a hard time kind of penetrating that noise sometimes.
it's the combination of he thinks he can avoid consequences, and at least in the first episode, he mostly does.
Yeah.
Or he
Yeah.
doesn't care.
Right.
Like he does not
That's
care about
fair.
consequences. He is so hyperfixated on whatever his current hyperfixation is that he
That
is
makes
blocking
sense.
out everything else. And it isn't
Yeah.
till closer to the end of the show does he slowly start realizing, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that as much as I do.
Like-
Yes.
In the first episode, getting thrown into jail isn't a consequence. It's just another problem to solve.
Yes.
You know, it's towards the end of the show, he's like, oh, if things I do can have consequences to people I care about. you know.
Yes.
And then followed shortly by, oh shit, I care about people.
Yeah.
Which is what makes the show so great, because all the characters have that sort of realization about each other.
Which does
Yeah.
bring me to his Jake's last question. Do you feel the story meandered a bit too much for its short length? Short answer, no. Long answer, it does, but only as it starts, because it takes them a minute to really get into gear for the actual race.
I don't know. It does. Like, that's 5 episodes, and also like there's a little bit of meandering. If it feels like a weird turn when Kosame gets shot and Sophia gets captured. The thing is, when it meanders, it pays off.
Like the meandering, quote unquote, is maybe some of the best parts.
Yeah, like it's
That's
not
where the characterization
just
lives.
yeah, it's not just about the race.
I think the biggest problem with the pacing, especially early on, is that it starts in media res. It shows them starting the race.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then takes a while to actually start the race, about halfway through the show. I feel that if they could have figured out a way to even start the race itself on episode 3,
Yeah.
and then incorporate the previous 2 episodes
See.
in some more of a flashback mode.
Yes. Okay.
This kind of reminds me of V Gundam, where like the original way the show was really set up, the Gundam wasn't even going to show up till episode 3, but the production people you have to have the Gundam in the first episode. So he had to hastily rework it. So basically, they showed episode 3 first, and then episodes 1 and 2 were kind of like, and how did we get here? But I feel like there might have been that need to, okay, we got to show them in cars racing in episode 1, or people are not going to get what this show's about.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is exactly what it felt like.
But aside from that, and again, once they get going, it's great. And there was no time that I wasn't enjoying the show. Whether it was meandering or racing, I was always having a good time. It just did feel weird that they showed the moment in media res, which I'm all about starting media res. Great. Always.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with media res, but it does take it a minute to get back to it. There's just a lot more time from that to the race, which is all things that I think needed to exist. But yeah. Okay. Ryan from Discord has all sorts of questions that somewhat are related. What took you so long?
Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
We don't need to tack on another couple hours to this podcast.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
A variety of things happened.
Why did a bottle of mead decide to explode all over my floor just now? Haha, you fool. Dylan can also make the meads. He might have an idea. Or not. I'm not going to put that on you, Dylan, but
I've only had this happen. I mean, what happens is as alcohol content increases at some point, it's going to become inhospitable for the yeast to live, right? And if you don't, if you think fermentation has stopped, but it hasn't, you have a bottle bomb. I have done this once. I took a cherry mead that some sort of wild yeast had started on before I even pitched the yeast. And I'm like, this tastes funky. I don't really like it. And then I had a mead that ended up way too sweet. And like, this seems undrinkable. And like, I'll just mix the two together. And no, that gave sugar to the yeast.
I love that you have a potential answer. That's
Well, I understood that Brian probably does his own brewing of the meads. And I knew that Dylan also brews the meads. So when he asked this question, I'm like, oh, you think we're not going to have an answer for you?
I mean, Ryan probably knows that answer, I would assume, if he's reading up on.
But I don't know if he is.
I thought
I
it was
don't
a
know.
joke. I assumed this was a joke and just like, hey, that sucks. I know that feeling. Something goes wrong.
I think a bottle of mead did decide to explode all over his floor. And so he wrote that as a question, but I don't think he expected to get an answer.
Well, we got an answer.
What is your favorite Persona? 2.
Yeah.
The 2s.
Specifically Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Or sorry, Eternal Punishment, rather. Persona 2.
The one where they're adults.
Because it has a cast full of adults, mostly. Yep. And honestly, I still think it's the coolest cast of Persona protagonists they've had still to this day. You can't beat classic Persona. I'm still a big fan of the series, even up through the current games, but I don't know. 2 just holds a special spot in my heart.
Baofu is Bei-Fu?
Yeah.
Is that anything? I don't know.
I don't know. I love Ulala, which is kind of weird because they're the two who hook up before the game's over. But, they're like the definite couple in the game.
I assume Dylan doesn't have a particular feeling on Persona.
I have never played a Persona game.
Well,
play 2.
I know Mead. I do not know Persona. That is the trade-off you get.
I'm debating whether or not I would say you should try it. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if the current flavor of Persona would be your thing. You might like the earlier games. You might dig Shin Megami Tensei, actually. Like,
I don't know. At this point, like, there's so many games I need to play that, like, I don't want to add to that list right now.
Like, I feel like the Shin Megami Tensei games are less human, individual character, like party level human interaction, and more like a vague. Like, the story is more cosmic, and your narrative is more inferred by the environment you're traveling through. And it's like the story, your party stories tend to be the one you make up for yourself.
But I also understand the feeling of I've already got so much on my plate that I can play.
Yeah,
I don't really need to feel the urge to add even more things to play.
I don't feel. I as much as I like the series and like people to play them, I don't feel like it would become an integral, life-changing part of your life or anything. It's not that.
Yeah, I've heard enough people talk about them that I have a vague sense of what's going on ish.
It reminds me of a conversation I had with Umi the other day, where he is like, "Oh man, I watched Arcane season 2, and that was certainly a show." And I was like, "Yeah, I need to watch that at some point." And he was like, "Well, go watch it." I'm like, "Look, I've got lots of things I need to watch before then. Do you want me to watch Arcane season 2, or do you want me to watch Big Bang Braven?" And he paused and went, "No, I want you to watch Big Bang Braven." And I was like,
"Yeah,
okay,
you should watch Bravern like before."
Bravern. So, okay, there you go. Now, how do you feel about this peeve that Brian mentions?
Kanipas?
Yeah, I've never had them.
Pronounce it? I don't
know. Haven't had them.
I've literally never heard of them before today. If that's a failing on my part, I
Googled it, and I think it's some sort of like lime.
So, well, okay, Ryan, you win.
Spanish lime. I've never had them.
Yep, nope. I don't know if that's, that probably reflects badly on me. But yeah, no opinion.
Well, you know what, Ryan? If you want Kevin to have an opinion, on our Patreon for $20 a month for 3 months, we'll buy some, and we'll have Kevin try them for you, and he'll report back.
I can't believe we didn't add pivot in the questions.
Make me have an opinion.
Why does Espeon keep getting away with it? They know what they did.
Are we talking about the Pokemon?
They know.
Or is this a person?
What they did.
Or
I assume Pokemon.
All I know about Pokemon is Pokemon Go, so
yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm more of a Sylveon fan myself. I don't know.
And then Ryan's final question: do you know how to use a scooter?
No. I also cannot. I've also never been able to correctly ride a bicycle.
Neither have I.
So it might not be advised. I don't know if
I don't know what's involved in riding a scooter, so I cannot say. I do technically know how to ride a bike, although it's been years. But I don't think that means I can use a scooter.
Well, I have spina bifida occulta, and my balance is real bad. I tipped over every bicycle I tried growing up, including all the ones with training wheels. So I am not the person to ask about riding a scooter.
I don't technically know if I have something similar, but like I've never been able to learn how to ride a bike. I've fallen every time. I also have not been able to learn how to ice skate. I gave that up real quick after the first time I hit my head on the ice, though.
I think the answer here is if you want more podcasts, it's better that none of us attempt a scooter because that's gonna take us out of the game for a bit.
I mean, I'm a big Kamen Rider fan, but and I've been told that like a motorcycle does most of the work of keeping itself up just by virtue of its wheels moving. But
I've attempted to ride a motorcycle like twice, and those things scare me.
Yeah,
no, that is how I would die.
Now, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name. I assume it's either Neil or Niall Flanagan on Blue Sky. They have a really great name of Juvenile Delinquent or Juvenile Delinquent .bluesky.social. The ending, positing a hypothetical sequel of Aircraft instead, is such a goddamn tease. And yes, it was. Yeah. I would absolutely be okay with it. It ends really well. It's a really good single core of anime, but I'd be so down for a sequel.
I only want a sequel if the gang gets back together for some reason.
And they all can fly aircraft.
And teams up. I want to see like some of these character developments continue. Like I said, there's this Xiaolin and Kosume, like they kind of want to suggest there's something going on there, and then they have to say goodbye, and then like, okay, is that a thing? Were you doing something there? What are you doing with all these characters?
Are we having a thing? Was there something? Did we have a thing going on? Did we have a romance subplot? I'm not sure.
Yes.
An anime I think about that I feel does a lot of the same things of it being an anime-ass anime, not really trying to reinvent the wheel, but it's spinning on a really good wheel, is Skate the Infinity.
Yeah.
Where I know it's eventually getting a second season, but much like Appare-Ranman, it did a really good just one season of it, and I really enjoyed it. And if we get more of it, great. That I have the same feeling for Skate the Infinity as like Appare-Ranman.
The other thing I feel weird about is like you'll see a lot of TV shows that do this. I feel like The Good Place did this, where they've got a really solid concept for season 1, and then the idea of building an airplane seems awesome, but then how do you build a story around it? Is it the same thing? And it feels like it wouldn't quite capture the same magic, or it would struggle to figure out what season 2 actually is in a storytelling sense.
It can also pivot on what's the story it's telling. That reminds me of Megalobox Nomad, its second season, where the first season of Megalobox is doing a really good retelling in its own way of Tomorrow's Joe, but in its own setting with its own characters and quirks and twists and turns. Whereas the second season decides to tackle immigration and the immigrant life and dealing with drug use. Like it goes so in a different direction that you would not expect.
Yeah.
That's much heavier, but it does it so well, you don't care.
Yes.
So it is quite possible. I don't think that this anime would do similar themes, but it could, even if it wasn't the same show, and it may not capture the same magic of the first season, but they could do something where it captures its own magic for a second season.
Yes.
If we ever got it, but who knows?
The entire gang has to be back together. The entire gang has to be back together.
I mean, shoot. It's also like, if you ask me, do I want another movie of Redline? And I would be like, absolutely. Anyways, the other question is, does this assuage the longing for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure still ball run on TV? Or further prove it would be a dynamite good time? Yeah, JoJo's just good. I'm sure JoJo's
I hope they do adapt Steel Ball Run to animation, just because I want the JoJo's train to keep on rolling.
JoJo's is a good time. The anime adaptations of the manga JoJo's have all been a good time. So I am assured just by previous JoJo's that if you give me Steel Ball Run on TV as a new anime season, it's going to be a good time. This is its own show, and it's also a good time. If you needed a cross-country race to get you through the day, this does that for you.
What a weirdly specific thing to need.
Hey man, I've always said I am always down for more wacky races.
Yeah.
Always. This is not a new
Hazel
thing I've
has
said.
that. I can attest to hearing him say that in the wild.
I probably said that during our Redline episode.
Probably. That sounds like something.
I am always down with wacky races. This whole genre is probably a genre I need to be more into. Like, I am really serious. I'm going to look into maybe see if there's a Blu-ray or something for the Great Race. I'm actually really curious about it now because I really like cross-country racing adventures. Like, this was a really good time, and I now kind of do need more for it. Maybe this is what I need to get back into JoJo's, actually, is maybe what I need JoJo's Steel Ball Run, not to assuage a longing for JoJo's, but assuage a longing for more Appare-Ranman. Maybe that's what I need.
Not to really spoil anything from the previous season, but Steel Ball Run is kind of an alternate universe, so it's it's kind of a different continuity, so it's easily jump-inable comparatively.
That's good to know. It's good to know. Other things that I need to know, though: awesomes out of awesome and final thoughts. How many awesomes would you give this show, Appare-Ranman, out of awesome, Kevin?
1003 awesomes out of awesome.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Formerly 1007, but they lost a few guys.
Well, I thought the whole point of there were 3 of them and they could each kill 1,000 guys.
Well, it was originally the 1007, but there's only
Okay.
3 left at the time of our story starts.
That's okay. I missed that. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Which I know we were in Awesomes Out of Awesomes, but what does it feel like to have an anime character named after you, Dylan, in a show you're watching? I've only had that ever happen to me once.
It's such a weird name. Okay, I grew up in a time where no one knew how to pronounce my name.
Huh.
And I had to go like Bob Dylan or Dylan Thomas, right? And it's weird. And it's also weird that it's this guy instead of Appare or Kosame or one of the other more mild-mannered types.
Yeah, I've only run into one Kevin in anime, and that was in Tiger Mask Double. So that's I sort of alternately stand him and then cursed him when he turned out to be kind of a jerk.
Hey, our Dylan brews mead. The Dylan in the show would drink that mead.
Yeah.
That is technically a connection.
He would not waste a drop. Even if someone would try to waste that drop, he'd make sure that it was caught correctly, and he would then drink it. And then kill the guy because he tried to waste some liquor.
I'm obviously forgetting a scene here because I'm sure that happens, right?
Yeah.
I think it does.
I think it might happen more than once, actually, on kind of near opposite ends of the show. But
am I up for awesomes at awesome or
you are?
A 1-on-6, 1-on-7 fight out of awesome? That's a weird choice. That was probably my least favorite part of the show, but sure, whatever. A family of some number of racers. There we go.
I mean, this is a show that is as much about its cast of characters as it is its cars. And the cars are all really just extensions of the characters themselves.
Yes.
Unlike some car racing anime, this is about the character.
Well, as opposed to MF Ghost, where instead the cars are really the characters and all the drivers are more or less personality extensions of the cars.
There's a sense of ownership over the machines. A very personal sense of ownership in a lot of cases.
Like, in this respect, this show is a lot like Redline, where Redline would also do the same really good job of It has a really good cast of colorful characters with equally interesting and colorful cars, vehicles, spaceships, fairy magic, whatever. It gets you there.
They all got wheels some of the time.
Yeah. And I'm going to give this one great race out of awesome, even though the show does in fact have multiple different races like here and there, at least a couple.
But there's only one great one.
There's only one great
One
one.
overarching great race.
And it's a pretty great race with the photo finish and all.
Is it a wild race? It's a wild race.
It is a wild race. Yeah, it's a wild race. I think it's the Trans-American Wild Race.
America Wild Race, yeah.
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good. It's real fun. Everyone should watch it. You can find it on Crunchyroll now.
Yep.
I don't think it ever got a Blu-ray release.
No, it did, because I bought it before I I bought it when we did, I think when we did Secret Santa, before I found out that it was on Crunchyroll. I went back and looked at it.
Because
good.
Yeah. Funimation was better about getting their stuff on Blu-ray than Crunchyroll is.
I remember actually going to look it up when it was on, when Ink did his panel, and I think I kind of I'd have to buy a Blu-ray at that time.
Now, I don't know if you can still get it, but it's a good time. It's fun no, I think you still can. You can still get it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, this was back when Funimation was...
We have an annoying tendency of talking about shows that are hard to find sometimes.
No, it looks like it is, in fact, still in print, which is awesome.
At time of recording.
Yeah, that's also factual. Sorry, this was also... Because... Pause. So nowadays, it takes a lot for Crunchyroll, to actually pretend it's Funimation and actually put out discs. There are so many Crunchyroll shows that if this was still actually Funimation, we would have gotten Blu-ray releases, and we just haven't lately. And that sucks.
I mean, there's been a few shows that they were basically just caught sitting on the rights of not too long ago. That's just like, they had the rights to it. They could have put it on the site the whole time, like for years, and they just didn't.
If memory serves, that was Tomorrow's Joe was one of them. I believe that recently got off, and they found out, they had that the whole time. Anyways, this whole time, you've been listening to the OSMcast, a production of, the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. Once again, thank you to Kevin and Dylan for joining me on this episode. The show is edited by, me. Hi, Basil. I'm the editor now. Pleased to meet you. Our theme song was done by DJ Inabito. You can find his stuff at djinabito.com. You can find the OSMcast at theawesomecast.com. That's OSMcast.com, where you can find links to all our things, like our Patreon, like we mentioned at the top of the show, our Discord. We've also got things like our TeePublic, where you can buy some t-shirts, as well as all our stuff that is on social media. You can find OSMcast there. We're probably the most prevalent on Blue Sky personally, but you can find the OSMcast itself on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, but mostly Blue Sky. Blue Sky. I like it, the Blue Skies. You can also find me there, but before you find me, more importantly, you can find our episodes on YouTube, and also give us some good reviews on things like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Anywhere that gives us reviews, please give us good reviews. All the stars. If they say 5, give us 5. They ask for 10, give them 10. Because if you don't give us the max, it might as well be 0. Because that's how ratings and surveys work in today's environment. And like we said, dumpster fire. Anyways, you can find me on Blue Sky at It's Basil Time. Where can they find you, Kevin?
You can find me at Rebel Robo on Blue Sky, or Twitless_Kevin on Twitter. I still haven't abandoned ship from there. I'm not really super active on either. Honestly, if you wanted to, talk to me, you're going to find me on the Discord. I'm pretty active on the Discord.
And where can they find you on the internet, Dylan?
I'm on Blue Sky under DylanWolf.com. I guess the links to all the stuff I do online is at links.dylanwolf.com.
Oh yeah, because you've been putting out some various RPG module and things, just things that you've been working on that.
I put out a few. I started a TTRPG blog. I got a bunch of posts lined up. I don't know how long that's going to go until I run out of things to write about. Basically, anything I do, I'm sticking on that little portfolio site, links.dylanwolf.com. So that's the place to find whatever I happen to be doing.
And if I'm somehow not having it linked on the OSMcast website, it will be by the time this episode goes out. So once again, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, we're out.
Singing all night long. Don't know why it's so low.
Did that like blow up? Like did I get like really like distorted when I said that?
I don't think so.
I
Okay.
didn't think you did, but
We'll find out.